Former WCW President Eric Bischoff slams All Elite Wrestling, saying there's nothing that's going to turn their company around, and criticizes what he perceives as a lack of ability to tell stories. Juice Robinson, we've got an update on an injury that could rule him out of the Continental Classic tournament. Speaking of injuries, big Bronson Reed, we've got more details on his injury status coming out of Survivor Series. We got the backstage details from Drew McIntyre's return this past Monday night on Raw after his bad blood hiatus. And Becky Lynch, could she be on her way back to WWE sooner rather than later? Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. Let's begin with Eric Bischoff's scathing criticism of All Elite Wrestling over the last few days. Now, All Elite Wrestling is for the sickos and no one else, at least according to Eric Bischoff. The former president of WCW has long been a harsh critic of Tony Khan's company and did not hold back his opinions Monday on the current state of AEW during an appearance on the Ariel Helwani show. Bischoff admitted that he used to get very frustrated when analysing the weekly AEW product because he felt the company could be doing much better across the board. He says he hates seeing good opportunities go to waste, but now he's lost all faith in a possible turnaround.
So I just said, heck with it. It's not worth my time.
Okay. What about your take on the current state of All Elite Wrestling? What do you think? How are they doing right now?
Yeah, well, they're horrible. Come on. It's just... I've given up. You know, I used to get really frustrated with them because I actually hate seeing people screw up good opportunities. I know what that feels like, and I know how hard good opportunities are to come by. So when you see somebody just shooting themselves in the foot day after day, week after week, in every possible way, it's frustrating for me, and I would vent that. Now it's just like, yeah, whatever. Yeah, it is what it is. There's no hope for them. Nothing's going to turn that company around. There's no light bulb going to go off in anybody's head and all of a sudden realize, oh, this is how we actually get people to watch TV. They have no idea what they're doing, and they're too stubborn to learn.
There's no chance for a story to turn, like the way NWO turned WCW around. There's no chance of any of that.
Not there.
Why not?
Because there's nobody there that knows how to tell the story. There's nobody there that knows what a story actually is. It's like, I use this analogy sometimes because it's easy to understand. Boy meets girl, boy gets girl. Boy loses girl, boy gets girl back. That's a story. It's not very compelling. Nobody cares. But if Shakespeare gets a hold of it, it's kind of like a version of Romeo and Juliet. So, yeah, you'll hear the fan base say, "Oh, there's great story. There's stories." Dave Meltzer says the problem with AEW is there's so many stories people can't keep up with them. I kid you not, he said that. And people take him seriously and send him money every month. What the hell? There's the stories, if there are any, are so bad that only the lowest form of wrestling intellect on the planet finds enjoyment in it. Now, you will find some people, and I think this is cool. If you just like the physical presentation of guys flying all over the place and doing all kinds of athletically amazing stuff, and you don't care about story, you don't care about characters, that's your jam. AEW is your jam. And if that's what you like, more power to you, man. I'm glad you found it. It's just not viable for the masses. It's, as Tony calls them, for the sickos. First of all, why would you want to call your fan base sickos? Because the majority of them would prefer not to be called that. Just a hint, Tony, just a hint. But Tony's vision for that company, I guess, is to provide content for that percentage of the audience that only cares about high risk, high altitude, fast paced action, and not about story and not about characters.
Now, Juice Robinson, an update on him and an injury that could potentially rule him out of the ongoing Continental Classic tournament. Juice Robinson's future in the AEW Continental Classic tournament looks to be in jeopardy as he suffered an injury during his match with Will Ospreay on the November 30th edition of AEW Collision. Robinson was reportedly seen on crutches at the WrestleCade convention, and considering his next match in the competition has not been announced, many have wondered what happens next. On Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer revealed what injury Robinson looks looks to have sustained and where AEW can go if he's not medically cleared. Quote, potential broken foot, Meltzer explained. He had x-rays and he had not seen the results back and not got them back as of yesterday, but he was fearing a broken foot. So, I mean, we'll find out Wednesday, I guess. He's not listed on the show Wednesday, but I mean, so he could probably have been wrestling on Collision on Thursday, but they probably, I would think that if he's out, they would have to make an announcement. There's a lot of different ways they can go about it. Now, Meltzer suggested AEW could either have Robinson forfeit the rest of his matches and adjust the tournament so that it still ends up with the right result that they have in mind, or have him be replaced by someone who believes that they can either overcome Robinson's loss to Ospreay or simply draft someone in who can take a few losses and not be hurt by it in the long run. Robinson still had to face Brody King, Claudio Castagnoli, Ricochet and Darby Allin in his campaign. But with only King and Castagnoli officially confirmed to face each other this week on Dynamite, it's unclear what the future of the Gold League will look like heading forward. Now, speaking of injuries on the WWE side of things, big Bronson Reed. This past Saturday, Bronson Reed took part in the main event of Survivor Series War Games, but the Australian unfortunately didn't make it out of the match unscathed. Reed missed last night's edition of Monday Night Raw, posting a picture to social media early in the day of a walking boot on his right foot and revealing that he was flying home. Speaking on today's Wrestling Observer Radio, co-host Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez shared what they've heard regarding Reed's injury. Reed is reportedly set to undergo further scans and tests for confirmation, but the word going around is that the wrestler may have broken his ankle. Alvarez initially stated that he'd heard about a broken foot before Meltzer clarified that it was the ankle, and Alvarez agreed. The injury is said to have occurred during Reed's tsunami splash off the top of the cage onto Roman Reigns, which saw Reed land on his feet from quite a high drop. Though Jimmy Uso was injured in a similar fashion during the match, his injury is said to be less severe, that being a broken toe. Following Saturday's premium live event, Alvarez noted that there was a worry that Reed may have damaged both his ankles on a bad landing. However, it's now believed that he only injured his right ankle, which I guess is positive news considering the circumstances for Reed's recovery. Though he's not a member of the Bloodline, Reed was inserted into the storyline a few weeks back, with Solo Sikoa bringing him into the fold as backup. In response, Roman Reigns asked for the help of Paul Heyman, who brought in CM Punk to serve as the fifth man for the original Bloodline. Reed's injury came during the match's closing moments, with Sikoa being pinned a short time later. Now, Drew McIntyre, he is back on WWE television, making his return last night on Monday Night Raw. But since Bad Blood, McIntyre had been out of sight, out of mind for the WWE Universe. That should come as no surprise. Not only did McIntyre lose to CM Punk inside Hell in a Cell at Bad Blood, but he lost a feud that had arguably become the most personal of McIntyre's career. Last night, however, McIntyre decided he was done licking his wounds, returning to Raw to attack Sami Zayn. As it turns out, McIntyre's return may have come about a bit of the last minute kind of nature to it. PW Insider reports that while WWE Creative had been coming up with my ideas for McIntyre, it wasn't expected he would be back the night after Survivor Series. Instead, it appears McIntyre was scheduled to return later in December, likely around the time of WWE's holiday tour, which McIntyre is scheduled to take part in. And while the reason behind McIntyre's return hasn't being moved up isn't 100% confirmed, the belief is it's related to the absence of the aforementioned Bronson Reed, who of course was injured. Now, there's no timetable for how long Reed will be out, though it's feared that he may have broken his ankle, which could mean he's on the shelf for quite some time. McIntyre's attack on Zayn occurred at the very end of Monday Night Raw, following Sami Zayn's loss to Seth Rollins. It should be noted that Zayn's War Games teammate Jey Uso was also attacked earlier in the evening, though it remains unclear whether McIntyre was also the perpetrator for that assault. And finally, we spoke about Seth Rollins. What is the latest status of former WWE Women's World Champion Becky Lynch? Well, maybe, just maybe, we've got an idea on when she could be back inside a squared circle for WWE. Now, Becky Lynch has been off WWE television since her contract expired a few months ago, but the expectation has always been that she would return to the company at some point. It was just a question of when, and the answer could be very, very soon. WWE is holding a special event at Netflix headquarters today, that being December December 3rd, ahead of Raw premiering on the platform on January 6th next year. Many of WWE's top names are expected to appear, but according to PW Insider, there's one very interesting name. That name is, of course, Becky Lynch, who many fans figured would be back in the mix for the Netflix move. As well as Lynch, other names slated to appear at the event today are the undisputed WWE Champion Cody Rhodes, Women's World Champion Liv Morgan, Seth Rollins, CM Punk, Bianca Belair, The Miz, and more, with WWE President Nick Khan and Chief Content Officer Paul Triple H Levesque also said to be in attendance. If we get any confirmation on Becky Lynch being there, of course, an announced return of the man, we'll of course let you know in an upcoming video. But there you go, guys. The latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe bottom right hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or coming across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.